The most basic features of vision are constructed by the brain. The most compelling evidence for this comes from the study of extremely rare cases of highly selective brain damage. Years ago, Gisela Leopold suffered a stroke. It left her unable to see motion. Everything she sees is frozen, even though her other senses shout out that the world is moving by. For Gisela Leopold, looking at a moving object is an unsettling experience.
Weil mich das sehr furchtbar stört, wenn die schnelle U-Bahn da kommt. Das ist für mich nicht angenehm. Wenn überhaupt was zu mir herkommt, das ist noch schlechter. Es ist besser, wenn es weiter weg ist.
Faced with the massive amount of visual information coming into our eyes, it seems we divide up the task of building the scene in our heads into different components. And Gisela has lost one vital component of her visual world.
My first impression was that it's something really very strange. And when I asked her, now what is your problem? She told me I can't see objects in motion. And like others, I didn't believe it, because nobody has ever described a case like this.
She cannot detect how full the glass gets. She sees the water, but she doesn't see the water rising. She can no longer detect motion. Her brain sees for her is terribly disjointed. Simply watching a car pass by can be a frightening experience. She sees in freeze frame. Her physical world is made up of disjointed still images, like the pictures on a film reel, except there are large gaps between each of them. A mere stroll down the street can be terrifying, for there are so many moving objects to understand in those flashing still frames. And many of those moving objects could hurt her. When both she and the object she is looking at are moving, things get even worse. It probably looks something like this. When just one of the many parts of the brain's visual system is impaired, our view can be dramatically altered.
Professor Joseph Zill has studied the unique phenomenon of Gisela Leopold for 20 years. His tests reveal how she now struggles to make sense of the world. She relies on the fact that the static image she is seeing is eventually updated. After a delay of a few seconds, she can deduce that something is moving if the snapshot in her mind has changed. Gisela Leopold's stroke damaged a small area at the back of her brain. What makes her unique is that the damage was precise and also symmetrical. This accident of chance proves that when damaged, particular brain regions can selectively prevent the processing of movement.
It is very difficult to imagine how the world of Leibold may look like. Although she cannot see movement in the sense of tell us whether something is moving or not, or tell us the direction of movement or the speed of movement, moving objects appear to her as restless. And this is what makes her feel very unwell and irritates her and makes life so difficult for her.
Ich guck möglichst dann nicht mehr wenn man so vor mir ist und sich das bewegt. Ich gucke dann meistens auf eine andere und so nicht so viel bewegt oder.
Our eyes only capture static images, still photographs of the world outside. These images travel to the back of the brain, where they are incorporated into the sensation of seeing movement. And we now know that different aspects of vision are dealt with by different visual subsystems. No one knows why the brain is organized this way, but it makes sense to me that this division of labor is the most efficient way for coping with everything that's bombarding the eye. Gradually, neuroscientists are building up a detailed map of this parallel processing. The raw jumble of information from the eyes travels to the primary visual cortex and on to a series of increasingly specialized areas for processing. So far, over 30 different areas have been discovered, working on motion, color, depth, shape, and even which way an edge is pointing.